Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the electric version of the Citroen C3. This is the EC3, but I'm on a test track right now because electric charging infrastructure is very poor in India. Now this car is available with 3 packs. There's the Elegance Chrome package, which obviously adds chrome to the car. There's the Energy pack, which adds a rear spoiler and rain visors. And this, having the white pack, actually gets these white inserts on various places. But before we start, let me tell you about an amazing fintech platform called PayMe. It's a RBI registered NBFC into digital lending, which offers attractive discounts and interest rates with complete digital onboarding and easy repayments. Taking loan from PayMe requires minimum KYC and can be availed without any collaterals. The approval is instant. PayMe is fully compliant with recent RBI digital lending guidelines. Check the link in the description to know more. And back to the vlog. Straight away we are going to be opening this thing, which is, I don't know to call it the frunk or the hood or what, because the electric motor is placed on the front axle. Here it is. So there's a lot of empty spacing. Orange high voltage cabling is there, of course, and there's insulation which it really doesn't need, but the design is identical. There's no change on this car in terms of aesthetics, other than the fact that there are 3-4 changes which are very much obvious. The logo actually merges into the DRL as well as the main light. So these are the main lights, the LED DRL, this is the indicator. Everything is halogen. This white insert looks quite cool. The fog light, of course. And rest of it remains the same. In fact, Citroen is offering a lot of customization options on this car. So I think there are 47 customization options, 70 accessories as well. From the side, it is identical, other than the fact that the ground clearance has reduced by 10 mm because the battery is placed here between the wheelbase, and because of which obviously it sits lower right now. 300 kg is the weight of the battery. E-badging here, white pack insert right there. This is actually a new color, so there are 3 new colors, and this one has a white roof. Meanwhile, the charging port is placed here. So this is for AC charging, this is for DC charging, but the problem is now the quality of this isn't great because you can see there is some panel gaps. Not very impressive. Says Citroen right here. Now this is a car which looks like a mix of SUV and hatchback, so you can call it crossover. It gets alloy wheels now as standard. The tire size happens to be 195 65 15. There you can see the suspension of the vehicle, indicator placement here. This E is almost everywhere in the car, of course, and then you get a roof rail which doesn't seem functional, of course, and there's an antenna there on the top. In fact, it says Citroen on the tail light as well. Again, it is identical to the regular C3, the EC3 that is. I mean, the EC3 is identical to the C3. You get rear parking sensors, only 2 of them. No rear parking camera. Faisal Khan's fingers of truth will never hunt for an exhaust in an electric car, but you can see the underbody. So the thing is, there you can see, yeah. The point is that what they have done is remove the tailpipe, of course. So that's something, if you notice, you know this is an electric version, but it says EC3 here. No rear wiper washer, which is there in the Tiago EV, so cost cutting is very much evident. Massive Citroen logo. There is the high mounted stop lamp, and the boot is identical at 315 liters because unlike the Tiago EV, this one has the battery between the wheelbases, so yeah, that's something. Now 315 liters seems okay, fine, not that great. Spare wheel is not an alloy. Tire size is smaller at 185 65 15, and the loading lip is very high. This is the charging cable of the vehicle. Yeah, there it is. And you know what, if I want to increase the boot carrying capacity, I can put this down with a kick, of course. Oh my god, the kick was so bad. It has to be pushed like this, and then it increases the boot carrying capacity, of course. And these people will not let me shoot. They'll come and stand in between. I don't know why. Okay, PSA it says right there. So a single split folding rear seat. Now let's open the door, the rear door. Very cheap pull-out type door handles. Door pockets are decent size, not very big. If you notice, there are no power window controls here because they are in the center, and they're placed in a way that it can be accessed both by the front people as well as the rear. That's why that's the only switches for the rear power window controls. It doesn't have 2 of them, usually what's there in other cars. Now space at the rear is actually decent enough, but center passenger does not get a head. No adjustable headrest in this car, so that is evidence of cost cutting. Legroom and kneeroom is actually good enough. Under-thigh support is very poor. This is not scooped out magazine holder here. Headroom is just about adequate. Now, no height adjustable seat belts. There's a handle to hold on to, and 2 USB charging sockets. There's some storage space right here, and rest is same, but the car is not wide enough, so 3 people will not be very comfortable inside this car. The dashboard is again identical. However, the center console has been revised because it doesn't have to have a proper gear lever. There's obviously automatic. Electric cars automatics. The regular C3 petrol is actually powered by a petrol engine, and it is obviously manual, no rear disc brakes. So in terms of aesthetics, nothing has changed as such. The only funny part is that this being an electric has a charging flap there, but it also has this petrol filling flap which has not been removed. It doesn't open, but they didn't want to make changes to the panel, so they're like, let it be, let it go. That doesn't open actually. Now compared to the Tiago EV, this one doesn't have any features. You have to manually adjust the outside rear view mirrors. These are the controls for the power windows for the front. Door pockets are decent at the front. There's a proper dead pedal. This is actually to adjust the headlight leveler. This is the button for the fog light. This is for the child lock function. Some dummy here. This is the key of the vehicle, and this to unlock the car, this to lock the car. So very basic in that regard. Yeah, they've done a lot of cost cutting. In fact, the seats are also slimmer here. However, seats are not bad. They made the seats slim so that, you know, there's a good perception of space inside. Height adjustable driver seat. Thankfully, they've given us that. And let me just turn on the car. Okay, it's turned on. That's how silent it is. It makes a sound to tell you that it's turned on right now. Let me turn off the indicator. Let me turn off the lights, and as soon as I do that, there you can see the cluster. Let's listen to an audio. That's not really a song, but it's got a 4-speaker system which is decent in terms of quality. This is dimming, thankfully. There is a mirror here. There is no mirror right here. There's a light placement here on the top. Glove box is quite deep as such. Well, that's what she said. And there's a pen holder and all that as well. Some storage space here. You wouldn't want to keep anything there. Nice design treatment. Dual airbags, ABS, EBD, all that is there in this car. This does not get a reverse parking camera. The Tiago actually gets a 7-inch screen. It has got wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto connectivity as well. Nothing much in the cluster to actually browse through. So that's a bit disappointing. However, they could have added a lot more features, especially a rear camera would be really helpful. See, the wipers work decently well. One nozzle puts 3 sprays out, which is nice. Audio controls on the steering wheel, and also to pick up a call or decline a call. Some dumminess here. The horn is very meek. These are the controls for the headlights. These are controls for the wipers. Air conditioning is a chiller. They call it the tropical AC. Some storage space here, some storage space here, some storage space here. So good amount of storage as such. 12-volt charging socket. There's a USB charging socket, USB-A. There is no USB-C in this car. No. I like the design treatment, but you know, this is really cheap. A lot of cheap bits in this car, unfortunately. This is the handbrake, of course. Now, this has been changed. You got a manual gear here. Okay, that was not the right way to describe it, but now this is very similar to the C5 facelifted model. So this is the gas selector, and this is for the eco mode. Well, that's about it. Not much has changed. The steering wheel is adjustable for height, of course, and the cluster is very basic. Look at that cluster. It's like a calculator. It is wide, but this digital area is very small. You get a speedometer, gear position indicator. It's telling you what is the range of the vehicle. It's telling you how much battery charge is there. This is the odometer. Then you've got twin trip meters, and also tells you what is the charge percent. That's about it. It is super duper basic. In fact, the side ones are just like dummies, which is a little disappointing, and like lot of hard and scratchy plastics. Overall quality could be better. I could like pull this out. So yes, they could have worked on the quality, but then it's all about cost cutting and offering this at a very attractive price point. This car is available in 2 variants, Live and Feel. Meanwhile, it also gets the Citroen Connect app, which is connected car app, which offers you 35 features, wherein you can see how much is the charge percent of this car. You can locate the car, and also you can find nearest charging stations. Well, that's something which is very much needed with electric cars because our infrastructure is really poor. Let's go. Alright, we are all set to go, which means I am going to turn on the car, and I'm not able to find the keyhole only. Now we have there a lot of things on the cluster. The car is actually turned on, makes this sound. You don't realize when it turns on. Handbrake down, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, and off we go. There it's reached 93 kilometers per hour, and then around the corners it's actually quite good. Yeah, I love the way the balance between ride and handling is there, so it feels quite sure-footed. There's no screeching from the tires, there's no flex from the chassis. It just feels so nice and robustly built together, which is fantastic. It's actually a fun car to drive, in spite of the fact that the electric motor doesn't have real punch. Yeah, punch is its main competitor. I've left the accelerator, it's slowing down, but it doesn't slow down very fast. So it's got regenerative braking, of course, but the regenerative braking isn't very aggressive, and there are no modes for regenerative braking. So it's just standard, unlike the Tiago EV, which has got 3 modes for regenerative braking. Now the thing is, I'm obviously going to be comparing this car with the Tiago EV because that is going to be its immediate competitor. Not because of the size, both are very different in terms of size. Not very, but they are like quite different as such, but because of the price, and here is the top speed of the car. 107 kilometers per hour is the top speed, which is restricted. Yeah, they have limited the car to 107 kilometers per hour. It won't go any further. The Tiago EV would do 120 kilometers per hour, so the difference isn't much. I was thinking if they claim 107 kilometers per hour, it will not even do 100, but yeah, they have actually restricted the car to 107 kilometers per hour. I don't know for what reason, but anyways, there's some amount of road noise and wind noise which comes in, so insulation could be better, of course, but overall balance is nice. High speed stability, if I can call 107 kilometers per hour as high speed, is also quite good as such. This car's got a wide track, it has got a long wheelbase relatively, and that all results in a very good dynamic ability. In fact, the ride quality is absolutely fantastic. This car rides beautifully well. It absorbs almost every bump on the road, so fantastic suspension setup. And in spite of that, the handling is also quite nice. So body roll is obviously there. This car weighs 300 kgs more than its ICE counterpart, but yes, it does roll around the corners, and the steering wheel does weigh up nicely, and it has a little slack in the center, and I can feel some amount of roll. Obviously there's a lot of roll as such, but steering is very decent, very direct, and it's a fun car to drive in spite of the fact that it doesn't have much oomph. Why doesn't it have much oomph? Because it doesn't produce much power. 57 horsepower, yeah, that's about it. 57 horsepower and 143 newton meters of torque. To put it into perspective, the Tiago EV has two versions, okay, one with a 19.2 kilowatt hour battery pack and the other with a 24 kilowatt hour battery pack. Both of them have more power but lesser torque when compared to this EC3, because this EC3 has 143 newton meters of torque. However, this one also has a bigger battery pack, 29.2 kilowatt hour battery pack, which results in a range of 320 kilometers claimed, of course. The Tiago EV long range version has a claimed range of 315 kilometers. Meanwhile, the Tiago EV standard range has a range of 250 kilometers, but obviously these are claim numbers, because when I turn on the car with full charge, it shows me a claimed range of 229 to 30 kilometers on the cluster. So yes, it doesn't it will not really give you that amount of range. In the real world, expect 160 to 190 kilometers of range, again depending on your driving style. So this car is best suited for city driving, because out on the highway 107 kilometers per hour top speed isn't much. Not that 120 kilometers per hour is much in the Tiago EV, but yes, this has a bigger battery pack, which honestly doesn't do anything, because it just gives you 5 kilometers of additional range when compared to the Tiago EV. Now this one weighs more than the Tiago EV, it weighs more than its ICE counterpart. So the weight is roughly around, I don't know, maybe 1500 kgs, but that doesn't matter. What matters is you don't really feel the weight. You do feel the body roll, but you do not feel the weight of the car. The horn is decent. Yeah, it's not very loud as such, and since this car is so silent, you need a loud horn to tell people, you're coming. And the wipers also, I like them. I feel they do a good job. Only thing is, at this speed, it's not able to clean the windscreen properly as such. So what is the charging time of this car? Now standard is the 3.3 kilowatt AC charger, which will take a lot of time to charge this car. 10 to 100% in 10.5 hours, which is a lot. In comparison, the Tiago EV charges much faster, because obviously it has a smaller battery pack. And then let's not forget, the Tiago EV also has an option of a 7.2 kilowatt AC charger, which will cost you around rupees 50,000, which will charge the car much faster. And someone has slowed down so much, maybe they're trying regenerative braking right now, but we have to get going. So let's hope that we get an overtaking spot, which I doubt. Okay, onto the acceleration. I shall go to small whine from this motor, and that's the only sound you hear, other than the wind noise, the road noise, and the tire noise, and all that can be heard. I leave the throttle. Regenerative braking is very slow. It doesn't really kick in as such. And then you've got an eco drive mode as well for efficient driving, in case you want to boost the range of this vehicle. But that's that. And now we get an overtaking spot here. No matter how much I push it, it does not screech the tires at all, because the tires are wide enough. So overall chassis is fantastic, and then weight balance is also good, because they've actually placed the battery between the wheelbase, unlike the Tiago EV where they've put it at the rear, like they've also eaten into the boot. So the practicality is not hindered with this car, which is actually a very good thing. Now, like I was telling you, the charging time of this car, which is a lot with the AC charger, and the Tiago EV obviously charges faster because of the smaller battery pack. And then obviously you've got a better charging option of 7.2 kilowatt with the Tiago EV. And then not to forget that you have a DC fast charger as well. So this car has DC fast charging capability. It it can charge from 10 to 80% in only 57 minutes, which is exactly the same as the Tiago EV. So they're even Stevens right there. The thing is that the battery is actually sourced from China. Yes, this battery is actually sourced from China. So the battery pack happens to be from S-Volt, which is a Chinese company. It's Volt or S-Volt, I don't know really, but that's that. Little bit of wind noise, which is fine. But why am I comparing this with the Tiago EV? This is more of a fake pseudo compact SUV sub 4 meter. The Tiago EV is a proper hatchback. The reason is very simple. Okay, the pricing is going to be very similar. So the Tiago EV is priced between 9 to 12.5 lakhs. I expect this car to be priced very similar as well, because although it's bigger, it misses out on a lot of features which the Tiago EV has, because the Tiago EV obviously gets rain sensing wipers, automatic headlights, and even a rear wiper washer and all that. This car doesn't get any of that. But the ICE powered version, rather the petrol powered version of the Citroen C3 is actually priced between 7 to 9.65 lakh. So you will pay a slight premium for this one over the petrol powered version, but then you also get great refinement, good torque rush, because there's this instantaneous power delivery. Because 0 RPM shows, I mean, at 0 RPM you get 100% torque, which really benefits the cause here. But let's not forget, there is no kick in the pants feel. So performance is very linear and sort of dull as well. It doesn't push you back into the seat, but it does reach its top speed without any hesitation, which is good. But if you're looking to buy a hatchback at this price point, would you get a petrol and electric? I think electric makes sense only if you're driving in the city and not venturing out at all, because out on the highway, this top speed of 107 kilometers per hour is quite inadequate. Thankfully though, the additional weight hasn't really affected the braking performance of this car. And here, onto the brakes. Quite sure-footed braking performance. There's slight nosedive under heavy braking, of course, because the suspension could have been tuned slightly stiffer, which would have affected the ride quality, of course, which they have not done. But overall, they don't need to, because overall balance, ride handling balance is very nice here. So not much complaints in terms of the dynamic balance of this car. I feel it is very good in the way it drives, and in the city you will have no complaints whatsoever. Now the thing is, I am going to see how is the braking performance of this car, because obviously braking performance is important, but more so because this car doesn't have that regenerative braking which you would expect. You have to always use the brakes. You can't just rely on one pedal driving. And here, around 80 kilometers per hour, hard onto the brakes. Here, a little bit of judder. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, and off we go. Yeah, no kick in the pants feel. It does accelerate quite smoothly and briskly. In fact, the claim time to go from 0 to 60 kilometers per hour is 6.8 seconds, which is actually slower than the Tiago EV, both the standard as well as the long range version. So performance isn't here. It's just adequate performance. It's not going to put your pants on fire. Electric doesn't necessarily mean a fast car nowadays. Obviously, when you're talking about small cars like this and Tiago EV, they're not really meant to put the pants on fire. They're meant to be cheap, economical running cars, and I think they achieve their target quite well. Now, in terms of the battery warranty, unlike the industry standard of 8 years 1.6 lakh kilometers, Citroen is offering 7 years 1.4 lakh kilometers. So that's something I don't understand why there's a lesser warranty here. The Tiago EV obviously has a better warranty, probably a better battery as well, because whatever, doesn't really matter. What matters is that the motor gets a warranty of 5 years 1 lakh kilometers, something like that. Yes, and then the warranty on the car itself is 3 years 1.25 lakh kilometers, which is very similar to what we get with the Tiago EV. So sort of even Stevens there. Overall, it's a very likable car. It's a car which has great dynamics but loses out on features completely, and in the electric avatar I feel it is much more practical as well. So guys, this is my vlog of the, I keep forgetting the name of the car, Citroen eC3 electric hatchback crossover, whatever you want to call it. It's a practical car. I just wish it had more features, but with an aggressive pricing, hopefully Citroen is able to address a big market as well. But the problem is they have a very small dealership network, and when compared to Tata Motors, well, they don't even have their own charging network. Tata Power will obviously help in this regard because they help everyone charge their cars, but then obviously Tata customers get preference, at least at Tata Motors dealership. So if you like this vlog, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that's a like button, and also subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to check out Pay Me. Click here on the top right of the screen right away. Bye bye.